Okay. Here's a cool one. What do your guests personally think is the most interesting mystery about the moon? What would you love to solve?
You first.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
Well,
I gotta think.
we had NASA had this mission called Grail that had two satellites, Ebb and Flow. And they flew around the moon, and they were to measure they wanted to look at the interior of the moon, because we were wondering why, it's a little bit lopsided in terms of its surface and where its gravity is. So it gave us the first map of the gravity of the moon, and it's still kind of asymmetric. And so I think that's one of the interesting mysteries of the moon. It comes down to its origin. Again, we don't know how the moon formed, but we can see its signatures 4.6 billion years later, and try to work out, be that detective. You know.
The things you can work
out.
out.
But I think the gravity field of the moon is intriguing.
Cool.
For me, it's the water.
Oh, yeah.
We know there's water, but we don't understand why we see it, where we see it, and why we don't see it where we think we ought to see it. Mercury also has water at its poles, and it is where you expect to find it. It is in where the models say that it has these permanent shadowed craters too, because it has no tilt to its axis, very little tilt, and it behaves. I always like to say Mercury is behaving itself. The moon, it's a that crater is plenty cold, but it looks
still water.
It's dry.
It's dry.
Oh.
The crater right next to it is cold and does have water. So that is an ongoing mystery right now, is the history of the water on the moon. Where did it come from? And this is very relevant for utilizing it, because you need to understand where it is to be able to access it at the scales we need to access it.
Okay.